Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here, man. So for today's video, we gotta talk a little bit about the Philadelphia 76ers. First of all, I want to say apologies for no videos over the past day and a half. So on Friday, I played my first 3v3 basketball game in probably 3 years, man. I've played about 3 games straight, and my back was destroyed. So it actually really hurts too. But regardless, man. Okay, we'll talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. So when the 76ers originally traded Ben Simmons for James Harden, at the time, I did a video saying, here are my new standings after the trade deadline. Here is my team rankings, right? And I said that I think by the end of the season, the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be in first place in the Eastern Conference, man. And, I did that, pretty just, I had, zero uncertainty to that whatsoever. I said that statement, I was like, yeah, that's what I think, right, man? And, when it comes down to it, the reason I said that is because I was seeing this 76ers team, and I was seeing exactly that, they were down an all-star. Say what you want about Ben Simmons, but Ben Simmons is an all-star caliber player, plain simple. And I would say, for the most case, any basketball team that loses an all-star is going to be a worse team because of that, right? There's not really any cases. I guess maybe, back in the day, the Warriors probably could have got away with, Klay Thompson for a few games because they had KD and Steph Curry. I guess there's cases like that. But for the most part, man, you lose an all-star, you're going to be a worse team. And, before Ben Simmons was traded, the 76ers, they were kind of around 4th, 5th place in the Eastern Conference, which all things considered, man, with how crazy and weird the season's been, that's pretty good. A big reason that has been because of Tyrese Maxiell. Just his ability to really develop as a player. What is the second year in the NBA, I believe it is, and just really make them not miss Ben Simmons' presence. But then you trade for James Harden, right? You trade for James Harden, and you're getting one of the best shooting guards in NBA history, man. For me personally, I would say my order of shooting guards: Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Personally, it's not even personally. This is just facts. Number 3 is Dwayne Wade, and then that fourth spot, I think you could probably have a conversation between James Harden and Allen Iverson based on who you're talking to. Both guys, don't have rings, and they dominated their own, respected period, era, whatever, at the shooting guard position, right, man? So you can have that conversation right there. But yeah, pretty much James Harden, he's up there with Allen Iverson's name. Well, another Philly great, by the way, as we all know. So you get him on the team, and Joel Embiid is already having this MVP caliber season, going back to last year where I believe he finished top 3 in the voting. So not only does the team have the motivation for Joel Embiid is hey, I want to win the MVP award this year. I don't know if he's gonna get it. He's been pretty damn good though, man. So you have that, and then it's just okay, Ben Simmons is on this team. I want to prove that we're still good. They did that, with Tyrese Maxiell's development. You get James Harden on the team now, who has his own agenda too, man. I mean, come on, the time at the Brooklyn Nets, that was just not great. And I know I'm kind of going all over the place right here, but I want to talk about why I think James Harden on the 76ers makes this team a championship team, man. A championship team. I'm saying it. I think Philly's winning it, man. I'm going to say it. Okay, so when Harden was on the Nets, he played with ball-dominant players, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. In my opinion, James Harden, he has just this very nonchalant, kind of slower style of play. And that works good when you're the primary ball handler. I think another similar guy is a Luka Doncic. I would even say Cade Cunningham, watch him on the Pistons and stuff like that. Just those guys that kind of can shift gears and go a little bit quicker, go a little bit slower. But for the most part, man, they're kind of taking their time, picking apart the defense and everything. So that works great when you have the ball in your hand. But when it's not in their hands, then, James Harden, he was fine. He was still a good shooting guard, but the strength is dominating the basketball. So I noticed that when Harden, I would say, was playing his best basketball on the Houston Rockets, that's when they had guys like Clint Capella at the center position. It's just these big beasts of players that could do that pick and roll game with you, and, you're going to dump it inside. Clint Capella was having great seasons, with the Rockets too. So on top of that, you now add Joel Embiid, who is still that big Clint Capella-esque big body, but probably even, Joel Embiid is bigger. I believe he's 7'1", isn't he? So you have that, rolling to the basket, but also Joel Embiid just being an MVP caliber player, superstar player. It's there's so many different things you can do with that, and it's just working, man. It's just working so much, and I love it. And yes, this Knicks game that was just signed, the 76ers won 125-109. There was a ton of free throws, but as boring as that is, I mean, we know that Embiid and Harden are like two of like the leading free throw getters in the NBA, so we kind of knew this was coming in that sense. And yeah, all 29 other teams are going to hate it. Unfortunately, that's not the Sixers' problem. That's not Embiid's problem. That's not James Harden's problem, right, man? Like, I will say that while I do say that this team is talented enough to win the championship, I did kind of like post about that over on Twitter at ChrisFlakes2K, by the way. I do, talk about the NBA and stuff like that every single day over there, so go check me out on Twitter if you don't mind. But no, man, like straight up, when I was like posting about that, people were saying, oh yeah, like they'll be great until the playoffs when the referees choke on the whistle or whatnot. And I mean, yes, any basketball teams has weaknesses, but I mean, Embiid and Harden, I think, are both talented enough where, yeah, if that whistle's not being blown, I could see how the frustrations could really catch up with a team like that very quickly. But I still think they're talented enough where they can, dominate in other ways. But then again, there's the argument to start the season, the referees definitely were swallowing the whistle quite a bit, and James Harden wasn't off to a great start. So I kind of get that too. But if that's kind of just like even a weird way to like look at it, because to say, well, like the referees changed how they're calling the game today, then yes, they will be not as good a team. It's like, but that's almost like a dysfunctionality within the league itself. I'm saying if the game's being called how the game is being called, then the 76ers are going to be dominating, man. And man, I'm just looking at this like starting five that they're rocking with. We got Tyrese Maxiell, just. I mean, even like Tyrese, like very early on in these first two games, like you gotta give this kid some props, man. Like literally, he made the most of his opportunity with Ben Simmons being out, and a lot of people thought that James Harden was gonna get traded for, and Tyrese was just gonna be lost, man, just lost in the offense of the game. I do think that trading away Seth Curry did leave that opportunity open for Tyrese Maxiell to still have a starter-esque role with the team, because Seth Curry was the star too and everything, right, man? But no, like it's working nicely, because the way that like Tyrese can play, he's very combo guard-esque. Like I think that he's really taken strides as like a playmaker this season and everything, but I still don't think that's like the bulk of his game. I think Tyrese is the guy that at times you give him the ball, say, hey, get us a basket, right? I think he's similar to, maybe like a Colin Sexton or Emmanuel Quickly, if you want to go a little more old school, man, like a Jordan Clarkson, that type, man. Those combo type of guards that can make plays, but it's not like the bulk of their game. So Maxey playing with James Harden, a guy that wants that ball in his hands, it's just a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit. And if there's times where like Harden's not in the game, or maybe Harden doesn't want to bring the ball, then Tyrese Maxiell can take care of that completely fine. So you have him on the squad. Matisse Thybulle is just literally the definition of like the glue guy on this team, man. I would say like the Draymond Green, just like those guys that, like maybe will knock down his open shot. He was 4 for 6 today, didn't make any threes, but he had scored 8 points, but he had the 3 steals, the 6 rebounds, and the 2 assists out there, right? So that works nicely too, because Thybulle is one of the better defensive players in the NBA. So you put that next to James Harden, who's historically struggled in that department, or at least hasn't been the greatest, I should say. Then that works out nicely, man. You got Tobias Harris. Now Tobias struggled a bit. He was 3 for 9 shooting, but once again, like just another big guy, a stretch four, play the small forward position too, obviously, and Tobias that however he needs to play to fit around Harden is just going to work, because he can score so many different ways, and like Harden's going to be able to recognize that. And that's why I really don't think that Harden worked out on the 76ers, because, okay, for what it's worth, I think they were like 13-1 when Kyrie, Harden, and Durant all played together, but at the same time, like there were times, when it was Harden and Kyrie and they weren't winning games and everything, just because the way that Harden plays, it's like Kyrie's not going to adapt his game to that. So that means one of those guys is not living up to their full potential at all times on the offensive end, man. It just works. It just really, really works. I know the free throws are not fun to watch as a fan of the game, but I think watching just the mastery of James Harden and just how he's perfected the primary ball handler position in the NBA, and watching Joel Embiid and how he's mastered, his ability to just be that multitasking type of center out there, man. I think that part of it's fun. So just seeing how these pieces fit together, and I look at this team, it's a pretty damn good fit, man. I mean, maybe the bench, I mean, even the bench unit's fine. You got Cork, you got Shake Milton, you got Niang, who's been pretty solid this season. You got Danny Green, who's a veteran. Paul Millsap, I don't know if he's a long-term solution. I know they also just recently signed, like, Willie Cauley-Stein to, I believe, a 10-day contract and everything. But overall, man, like, this Sixers team, it would be nice with them giving up Drummond if they could find somebody maybe via the buyout market, if that's still going to be a thing, in the short term here. Like another type of sign, like Willie Cauley-Stein's fine, that should work, but maybe there's an opportunity for something a bit better, man. But yeah, that's all we got for this video. I was just watching the Sixers-Knicks game, and I really wanted to talk about it. So thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.